Most founders I work with are not failing. In fact, none of the founders I work with are failing. They're all succeeding. They're succeeding and it's slowly breaking them. Today, we're going to talk about why. I'm John Kormanik, CEO and head coach at John R. Kormanik Coaching. In the next 25 minutes, I'm going to name a hidden force that's taxing your leadership and your firm's growth, probably right now, today, without you even realizing it. I'm going to show you exactly where it shows up and why it compounds the closer you get to that mythical, magical $10 million gross revenue threshold and beyond. And I'm going to give you 3 questions that are worth more than any action plan I could hand you. Those questions are going to require you to do the real work, which means stepping off the hamster wheel, finding some quiet space, and thinking like a CEO. Let's get started. So today we're talking about identity dissonance. And it is, in fact, a hidden tax on founders scaling toward $10 to $25 million. You and your law firm didn't stall because of strategy or lack thereof. Strategy got you to where you are, which is successful. You didn't stall because of talent. You are talented. You are dedicated. You are smart and you are gritty. You didn't stall because of the market. Yeah. Are there market forces out there? Yes. Does your law firm operate in a vacuum? No. And it doesn't matter what practice area your law firm operates in. There are market forces, but that's not why you are stalled. You stalled because the identity that built this firm is no longer sufficiently to lead it. It's just not. And you kept operating that way anyway. That mismatch has a cost. It creates friction, it creates wear, and it creates significant cost. Today, we're going to name it, quantify it, and talk about what it takes to close the gap. Identity dissonance. Now, I want to be really clear here. It is not an identity crisis. You know who you are. Do you know who you have to become? We'll put a pin in that question. It's subtler than that. It's subtler than an identity crisis. It's the gap between the story you're telling yourself about who you are and what the firm actually needs from you right now to move past the plateau that you're experiencing. Most founders, if we're being honest, have outgrown their self-concept. They've outgrown who they were. They just haven't updated their operating system yet. They haven't clicked on the button and said install for a whole bunch of different reasons. Number 1, it's uncomfortable. Number 2, they are uncertain. And number 3, and perhaps the most pernicious belief of them all, hey, what I did and who I was got me to this successful part. It will obviously get me to the next level of success. That is not true. So the lawyer who runs a firm versus the CEO who has a law degree. Who are you? The founder who can't let go versus the leader who builds systems that scale and empowers their team to achieve the goals that the founder wants achieved and cares as much about them as the founder does. The technician who thinks strategically versus the executive who acts strategically. There is a difference in those 3 bullet points. As we go along our 25-minute ride today, I hope you keep those in mind. Who are you? I use the word tax deliberately. It's not an accident. I've seen it over my years of coaching with elite operators, elite founders. It's not a character flaw, and it's not weakness. It's a structural drag on your performance and your law firm's performance. It is structural. It's charged every time you make a decision. Think about that. Every time you make a decision from the wrong frame, you are charged the tax. Every time you walk into a room as a leader, and every time your team looks at you for direction, you pay a tax if you have this dissonance. It compounds quietly, as compound interest does, right? It's quiet. It's sitting out there, it's running in the background, and it compounds over time. And the gap that you're facing becomes greater and greater, and the financial cost to you and your law firm and your team becomes greater and greater. And like most other things, when it comes to stuff that runs in the background, most founders never calculate it. They don't think of it as a tax. They just think, oh, we're plateaued. It's the market, it's the systems, it's the human capital. We just think about it that way without calculating what the tax actually is. Because if we did, and when we do, it will shock you. Absolutely shock you. So let's talk about the 3 places identity dissonance taxes you. Number 1, decision quality. You default to the decision a lawyer would make. You optimize for risk mitigation when the firm needs bold resource allocation. You listen to your lawyer brain. Number 2, leadership presence. Your team reads you before they hear you. Human beings are really good when we sense a disconnect between words and actions. Human beings are very good at, number 1, recognizing that. And number 2, looking at the action. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do is your team's mantra. Watch what he does. Watch what she does for the founder. That's what they're doing. When your internal identity is misaligned, it leaks and your team not only feels it, but they can see it. It's real. No matter how much you think you can hide it, you can't. It's not possible. Number 3, organizational coherence. The firm mirrors the founder. Here's what I mean. Fragmented identity, when there's that incoherence, equals fragmented results. The firm's talent has no North Star to go to. They have this is where we're going because of the dissonance that is present in you. Let's make this concrete. We'll talk about decision quality. I've watched founders turn down client opportunities because the lawyer in them saw liability before the CEO in them saw leverage. Let's talk about leadership presence. Your team isn't reading your strategy deck. They are not looking at the mission. They are not looking at the vivid vision. If you work with me, you will have a vivid vision for your law firm. They're not looking at that. You will have presented it to your team. They will know it. But there is a disconnect between what you say and how you are showing up and the vivid vision. They're reading your energy in the Monday meeting, in the stand-up, in the everyday. They're reading it. Your leadership team is reading it, and that causes them to not know what to do, honestly. And in organizational coherence, culture is not what you write on your website. It's what you unconsciously model every day, unconsciously model. Do we attempt to model it consciously? Absolutely. But your subconscious, your unconscious is always running in the background. And again, if there's a disconnect, there's a dissonance between what you're saying and what you're feeling, the organization knows it. Here's the brutal truth. The skill that built your firm is not the skill that will scale it. Period, full stop. I will say it again. The skills that built your firm are not the skills that will scale it. This isn't a competency gap. It's not that you don't know what to do. You do. It's you because you are smart enough to learn anything. You can log on to your AI of choice, give it a world-class, detailed prompt, and it will tell you what to do. It's not competency that you lack. It's identity. It is internal. We look to the external because that is comfortable. Well, it's not me. It's these outside forces. That shows an external locus of control when you have an internal locus of control in many areas of your life and your practice. The founder who built a $5 million firm is operating from a set of beliefs about who they are and what their job is. It is true. They are. And until that shifts, the firm will plateau. It may have brief bursts up. It may have brief tails down, but it will always return to the mean, right? It will always return to that place of alignment with the owner and their identity. So until that shifts, the firm will plateau, not because the market dried up and not because your team has failed you, not because you don't have the right tech, not because of any of those things. It's because you kept leading like a lawyer when the firm needed a CEO. Let's talk about the graphic, the scaling trap. On the one hand, unresolved identity dissonance becomes the ceiling. On the other hand, the founder who hasn't evolved becomes the bottleneck on every system, every hire, every decision. You are the bottleneck. The firm needs a different leader. Your old identity doesn't know that yet. This is internal stuff, right? Externally, for your firm and your team, you need to lead the firm. But the habits that built it keep pulling you back. It's like Al Pacino in Godfather 3. Just when I'm out, they pull me back in. Just when I think I'm not going to be a technician anymore, I am a technician again. Just when I think that I've created this leadership layer where I don't have to get involved in the day-to-day, I find myself skipping over that leadership layer and getting involved in the day-to-day. Your identity as a lawyer works. Technical excellence is the product. That's at 1 million to 3 million. Your identity as a lawyer works. Lawyers can get to 1 to 3 million just working as lawyers. They cannot get to 10 to 25 million working as lawyers. It's just not possible. It's not possible. At 1 to 3 million, you are the work. Closeness to cases is an asset. As we move up the scale, you have to move away from that closeness to cases. It's not possible for you to be that close. Well, John, if we know it, then why don't we just fix it? That is the $1 million question, right? Why don't founders just fix it? Here's the deal. You can read every leadership book on the market. You can read my book, Break the Law, right? About the 5 lies that lawyers tell themselves. You can read everything out there. You can hire a chief operating officer. You can hire a COO, a world-class person who knows organizations, who knows all this stuff. You can build the org chart. Oh, well, John, we have this org chart and this is where I am. This is the small area that I'm in. And if your internal identity hasn't shifted, if you still see yourself fundamentally as the firm's best lawyer rather than its CEO, every one of those moves will underperform. They will underperform. Will they perform? Sure. Will they get you to where you want to go? No, they won't. I'm sorry, they won't. Because you will unconsciously pull the firm back toward the version of it that matches who you are. That's where our comfort lies. It's understandable and it's fixable. Identity is not changed by decision. It's changed by evidence, environment, and the intentional disruption of your default operating mode. Intentionality is the key. You can't initially just think it's going to happen because you made the decision to change it, right? That's not the thing. You have to do the work. And I'm here to tell you that the work is an everyday thing. It is every day doing a little bit to change your identity by getting that external evidence. Oh, here's what I've done. I have now stopped going past my leadership team into the trenches. Oh, here's what I've done. I have empowered my leadership team to make decisions that I was otherwise involved in. All those types of things. The environment. How do you show up? What do you surround yourself with? How do you behave? How's your office look if you have an office? What does it look like? It's the intentional disruption of your default operating mode. Let's talk about what the shift actually requires. This is the work. And I'll be honest, it's not comfortable. It is not comfortable because as human beings, we really like the status quo. We tell ourselves stories to keep us safe, even though there is no lion chasing you. Your biology, when you go into the tap into the sympathetic nervous system, when you go into and create catabolic energy, that fight, flight, or freeze, it creates discomfort. And what is identity but a very comfortable place for us to be, right? So the lawyer identity is familiar. It's safe. Heck, it's what you paid all that money for, what you trained to become, why you took a bar exam, why you started your law firm. It was all based on this identity as a lawyer. Sure, some, if you're like me, also had the CEO identity in there, but because of recency and primacy and recency, I'm going to tap into my trial skills. I am a trial lawyer after all. Primacy and recency, it's all the law. It's all that, right? And so it's really familiar and it's safe. And because you have the evidence that it works, because it's how you built everything you have today. But letting that evolve doesn't mean abandoning it. It means integrating it into something larger. Take solace in that. Find peace in that. It's not jettisoning your identity, part of you as a lawyer. You don't get rid of that. That will always be there. It's integrating it properly and appropriately into something larger. It's the CEO who has practiced law, and they have a competitive advantage, but only if they lead from the CEO seat. So the shift requires clarity, a vivid picture of who the CEO version of you actually is. It requires evidence, new decisions, and new behaviors that prove the new identity to yourself. Ah, that's who I am now. It requires the proper environment, a peer group, and advisory relationships that hold a new identity in place. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. Jim Rohn said that. Do those people support your new identity, or do they pull you back to the old? Something to think about. And pressure. Structure accountability that makes the old identity uncomfortable to return to. I just had a client session yesterday, and my client was like, you know, I- here's the deal. I did the things that I said I was going to do because I knew I was going to have to come to you, and I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want to say, no, I didn't do that thing. That's the structured accountability. That's part of a very small part, in my view, of the power of coaching, right? Oh, I've got to show up for somebody else and tell them I did or didn't do what I said I was going to do. We all want to do what we say we're going to do, all of us. That's why if we have a running buddy and it's 4:30 in the morning on a cold Boise morning in January, and it's right on the edge of rain and snow, I would show up under the lamppost because I knew my friend would be there waiting for me so that we could do our run. The CEO who has practiced law has a competitive advantage over the lawyer who sometimes acts as a CEO. That is just true. And that competitive advantage is going to get you to where you want to be. I'm going to leave you with these 3 questions, not because I want you to answer them in the comments, though you are welcome to. You can plug your answers in there if you want, but because the right answer to each of them is worth more to you than any framework I can give you in 25 minutes. You doing the work is more valuable than any framework I could give you. Question number 1. In the last 30 days, what decisions did you make as a lawyer that a CEO would have made differently? Question number 2. Where is your internal identity creating a ceiling your strategy can't break through? This is not about working harder. It's defining your work differently. Number 3. What would it cost you in dollars, in talent, in time to let this tax that we've talked about today keep running for another 12 months? Another 12 months of compounded interest on this tax. Think about that. What would it cost? Again, this is the work. This is it. This is the identity work. These questions will show you the door, or even crack the door open a little bit for you to peek through. It's these types of questions that I pose to my clients every day. Every day. If this conversation landed, if you felt the tax I described, I'd invite you to reach out to me. Not a form, not a scheduling link, an email to john@johnrkormanik.com. Tell me where you are, what's not working, and what you're building towards. I work with a very small, select number of founders. If it makes sense to talk, we will. I'll drop my email in the comments. The founder who evolves wins. The one who doesn't pays. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Again, if this landed, email me, and I will see you next month. Be well.